Good afternoon. First, thank you to all of you for being here and for caring and being involved in the important issue of elections administration. In 2006, Franklin County, which is the Columbus, Ohio area, we did 3 audits in 2006 of the new ES&S Ivotronic DREs with the voter verified paper audit trail. The first was a 100% manual recount of the VVPAT from a special election in February of 2006, which I'm told was the first ever recount or audit of the paper tapes of that new ES&S DRE machine. The reason we did it, and we did it voluntarily, was because we wanted to know what was on those tapes. Did they really match the electronic results? And they did with 100% accuracy. It was a very small special election for a school district levy, tax levy, but 26 precincts, I think it was about 52 machines. We did 100% audit, and they came out accurately. After the primary election in 2006, from the results of an audit in a different county of Ohio, there were some questions again cast on the accuracy of the voter verified paper audit trails. And so in August, we had another special election for another tax levy in a different school district. And so our local newspaper, the Columbus Dispatch, came in and they wanted to audit, do 100% manual count of all the paper tapes from that jurisdiction. Again, they did that, and it was again a 100% accurate match. The biggest one that we did in 2006 wasn't so much, it was an audit, but it was also required under Ohio law in the form of a recount, the 15th Congressional District, where the challenger came within less of 1/2% of the incumbent. And under Ohio law, that triggers an automatic recount. Ohio law, when it comes to elections, as Professor Hoke can speak to, is very much not up to speed with the technology from even 30 years ago. And the recount statutes are largely written for paper ballots, not even for punch cards or optical scan. And so the previous secretaries of state had kind of cobbled together recount requirements in the forms of directives, and so in 2006 we were kind of blazing new area in terms of recounts, and that 15th Congressional District was, I'm told, the closest, the recount of the closest congressional district in the country using the voter verified paper audit trails. Knowing that we had a lot of questions from the law, we met with both of the candidates to craft recount procedures that would be acceptable to both of the campaigns for the 2 major candidates. Specifically, what do we do if we come across a blank paper tape or a paper tape that has been damaged in some fashion, either as a result of a paper jam or something of that nature. And so what we were able to do was before we started counting anything, we were able to determine exactly how we were going to handle each of those situations. And the way we crafted the rules, we relied on the electronic record in the event that the paper trail was inconclusive. And fortunately, during that recount, we only came across 3 situations where that happened. In addition, the Secretary of State required a 3% manual recount. We decided to do a 10% because of the margin in that contest. So that ended up being 49 precincts in Franklin County, 271 machines, 14,723 total ballots cast in those precincts on those machines. We did 5 teams. Each team had 4 employees, either full or part-time employees of the Board of Elections. We had two employees on one side of the table cranking through the VPAT and reading off the ballot, the vote was cast, and then 2 others. Again, Ohio is very bipartisan in the way we run elections. We had a Republican and Democrat on each side of the table, Republican and Democrat aye on the paper tape, and a Republican and Democrat aye on the tally sheet. We did that for 5 days, and again, this is just the VPAT. This doesn't include the optical scanning for the absentee that we ended up doing, but we spent about 800 hours person hours doing that recount, just of the 10% in Franklin County. It was a largely successful expedition in my view, because it gave us a lot of good information about how to do our audits and our processes, what the cost would be, and the logistics would be if, for instance, we had a recount in, say, a presidential contest next year. And so we feel that that was a very good thing for us to go through to try to figure out if we have to do a countywide recount, how we would do it. If we did, using that same process, we figured that it would cost us very similar to the numbers that Dean mentioned, more on the neighborhood of $80,000 just in employee time for the counting, not including the additional time for preparing for the recount, especially when it comes to absentee, as Ian mentioned earlier, sorting everything to find which ballots are going to be in the recount if you have multiple districts that you're having to decipher between. One of the challenges that I would just like to mention as folks look at making audits a part of the official process of elections, which I largely support, is the challenge of shoehorning one more thing into the process. One of the things that I talk about a lot when I have the opportunity to talk about elections administration is that largely over time, elections administration law particularly has started to look like a bulletin board at a grocery store where it puts their business cards. It's just this hodgepodge of stuff where anybody who had a great idea put it up there, and now elections officials are challenged with how do we do all these things. In Ohio, we have a particular challenge we have a 10-day period after the election where we're not really allowed to do anything in terms of canvassing, but after that 10th day, we have to seal all the poll books and the VPATs, and they just can't be unsealed until we have a necessity for a recount or a contest. So then we also have the challenge of when to certify for presidential electors 21 days after the election. So those are some of the challenges would encourage folks to look at when they talk to elections officials and general assembly members. Thank you.
Not to use the paper method?
No, but we devised a very similar apparatus.
What was the question?
The question was, we use the paint roller method for cranking the VVPATs, and we use a similar apparatus, but we even hooked up with a power drill, so it was easier to wind back afterwards.